Hello from Australia, my name is Olga and I'm completely blind. And today I'm going to share with you some ideas that may help you to make more friends and enlarge your social circle.
Olga and I have been friends for nearly 3 years. We reside at the same area and both have little children who play together. We also have similar heritage and shared traditions, language and values. Sometimes I may forget that Olga cannot see things that I see, and I may say something like, oh, have a look at this and have a look at that, and I'm keen to show her some pictures in my phone, but then I realize that it's inappropriate and I feel a bit embarrassed. This friendship is very rewarding because from Olga I learned how to see things differently in the way that one with sight wouldn't be able to see. For example, that we cannot take for granted anything we have, including our physical abilities. Another example is, how sometimes we judge people by what they look like. Or what they dress like, and I know that a friend like Olga, she just values your personal qualities and accepts you as you are, which I surely appreciate.
Being blind, I find sometimes that it's a bit challenging to make friends and make new contacts because on one hand I could be not exactly confident enough to reach out, and on the other hand other people may not be aware enough of what to do when they meet someone blind. A few years ago we moved from one city to another. By that stage, I actually didn't have that many friends and sometimes felt quite lonely. I was an immigrant from Ukraine, and as you can imagine, I had to build everything from scratch. And being visually impaired, I found it harder than a sighted person would. And so when we moved to Brisbane from Cairns, I just decided in my mind that I will make an effort and make sure I make friends, I build relationships, and never feel lonely again. So there were a couple of steps that I committed to making, and I'm going to share with you those steps because they did work for me, and I'm sure they will work for you. So step number 1 was getting out of the house. So I considered what areas of interest were important to me, and I could join some sort of group in that area of interest. So I joined a gym. I would attend play groups where I would take my little son. And by now I also expanded my interest into public speaking. I have just joined Toastmasters International, which is a club where leaders are made. I'm just quoting them. I'm a bit far from that, as you can tell from my speaking. Anyway, so those are all the areas that I joined because I'm keen on learning more, getting more done in those areas, but also to socialize. And the more you get out of your comfort zone and go to more places, the better it gets and the easier it gets for you. Step number 2, be proactive. So once I joined my gym, I forgot to mention that I go to church as well, so that's another social circle. You need to be proactive. You can't expect people figuring out, oh, how do I approach that blind lady? You actually need to be sort of an enthusiast. So if someone says hello, you don't just say hello and walk away. You say, oh, what a lovely day. Just think about a conversation starter. So for example, at the gym, I come into the sauna after my workout and I say hello, even if no one's there, because what if there is someone there? So, and when there is someone there, next thing I may say could be, did you have a good workout? And so the conversation starts and flows, and you do build relationships like that. Another thing in terms of being proactive, you should not be shy to accept invitation to have a coffee together, or you could even be the one to suggest that. Sometimes people are not sure whether you would accept it because they look at you as someone they've never dealt with before, so they're not sure whether it would be comfortable enough, whether you would feel safe enough to go and have a coffee with them or exchange phone numbers. So of course, without being too pushy, when it's appropriate, you could initiate that. It's very important to be proactive. Step number 3 is to make sure you treat your disability with humor and you're very comfortable about it, because then other people will be comfortable about it as well. They see that you are not making a big deal out of it, and so then they open up and they ask questions that bring you closer together, that by answering those questions brings more understanding, more clarity. So I'll give you an example how I break that ice. Again, let's go back to the gym. For example, when I approach a machine, I'm not sure whether someone's on it or not. It's a bit noisy at the gym. The music is pretty loud, plus the noise of people working out and stuff. So I'm not sure whether someone's on the machine or not, even if I'm trying to listen hard. I walk around with my cane. And so as I get closer to the machine, I just ask, is someone on the machine? And I remember once a guy, probably wearing headphones, he didn't answer. He probably didn't hear my question and didn't pay attention that someone with a white cane was approaching him. So he basically ignored me until I almost sat on his lap. And then he was like, oh, sorry, this machine is taken. Well, instead of getting embarrassed and like going, oh, sorry, I just was like, oh dear, I could almost end up on your lap. How cool that would be. And we had a good laugh about it. And, I went on the next machine and we kept talking. And, and then you meet again and you already know each other's names, and it's already something you can move on from that. Approaching your disability with humor also means that people see that you're funny, you're witty, they want to be around you. No one wants to be around complainers. You know how those old ladies are, like 90% of conversation just talk about their health, their problems, and you can't wait for them to shut up. Whereas, if you're funny, you don't mention your problems, you just talk about positive things, people are attracted to you. Okay, next important point, so that's point number 4, is to accept help gracefully. I know some blind people will jump at my throat for what I'm going to say, but I'm a bit different, I guess, in that regard. I think even when people exaggerating, sort of like overdoing their help, you should still be very polite, hold your irritation back, and be nice. No one likes prickly porcupines. Don't brush people off. Be nice. You can always say that you don't need help in a nice, kind way, so your image stays as a friendly, warm, grateful person. So let's say I'm walking somewhere and I'm perfectly fine, and someone comes to me and even grabs my elbow sometimes, like let's say it's indoors and people figure that I need help. I never, brush them off and say, oh, I'm absolutely fine. That's how some people do it. What I do say though is, oh, you're so sweet. Thank you so much for your help, but I think I'm actually doing all right. I remember once I dropped something on the floor in the change room, and someone offered to find it for me, and I was, I could have found it myself. It would take me a tiny bit longer than that person. But I was like, oh, thank you so much. I'm glad I didn't have to explore this dirty floor with my hands. Again, see, it's a bit of humor in there. And she was like, yeah, by the way, I've seen you around a lot. I just never really felt, comfortable to come to you. I worried that I would scare you in the middle of your workout. But my name is this and this, and it would be lovely to catch up again, And as you see, just by accepting her help gracefully, it was a conversation starter. I'm not talking, of course, about extreme situations. I remember once at a shop when I went to buy some shoes with a friend of mine. I was looking at some sandals that had a bit of a funny clip. So the shop assistant was showing how to, fasten those shoes. But instead of showing that to me, she decided to explain the whole business to my friend, and basically she was very, very patronizing. She was treating my friend as my carer, assuming that I could do nothing for myself. That's the time when I got a bit angry, and I did give a bit of a lecture to the shop assistant. I felt like I had to educate her that, blind people are a lot more capable than she thought we were. Another very important point, so that would be point number 5, don't be shy to mention what works for you. There is nothing wrong about it. People actually want to know about it. They're just a bit too shy to ask you. What I mean is, I struggle remembering, at least, to start with, people's names and recognize their voice and put the name and the voice together. I'm sure lots of blind people can relate to that. And as a result, often someone would come to me and say, oh, hi, Olga. And I go, hi. And I'm thinking, for goodness sakes, who are you? And if, I'm too slow to react, the person moves on. And next time they won't even come and say hi, because they thought I wasn't friendly enough and didn't really want to keep talking to them. So what I do is either if I can't recognize that person, I ask, oh, sorry, could you please remind me your name? It's not embarrassing to ask that. Or if you're meeting someone for the first time and you did get a chance to go into a conversation and looks like you would be talking again, so you can just ask, do you mind next time you say hello, also say your name? It helps heaps, because then straight away you are aware who that person is. Straight away, instead of a bewildered expression on your face, you put on a smile and you say, oh, hi, Peter. Thank you for remembering to tell your name. That helps me heaps, and blah, blah, blah. And so you keep talking. I guess my last point, so that would be point number 6, is it's important to understand that unless We feel comfortable about ourselves and our disability unless we respect ourselves, unless we feel confident about ourselves. It won't translate to other people. So if I don't respect myself, I don't think you will feel like respecting me. If I don't feel like I've got something, you won't feel that. And as a result, you wouldn't want to be around me. So I think you need to do a little bit of psychological work and think about your advantages, and don't focus too much on your challenges. You maybe, if you're blind, but you have excellent skills in baking, or think your areas of interest, focus on those, get into that area, and know your value. If you know your value, other people will see that value in you, and like a magnet, you will attract them to you. I wish you luck in making new friends, building relationships. I hope my ideas could help you a little bit, and please do share your tips. I would love to hear from you, and please take care, guys. Bye.